Ray Bellamy took the motel, the highway sign, the front office, the lake house, and every file that said he had built the Blue Heron Motor Court. He left Nora 6 dead rooms. They sat behind the working motel like something the county had forgotten to bury. 6 warped doors, curled blue paint, mildew thick in the carpet, and a burned-out ice machine leaning in the vending alcove with one cracked button still lit red. On the settlement papers, the rear wing was listed as non-operational lodging space, closed since 1999. No certificate of occupancy, no income value, no purpose worth arguing over. That was why Ray did not fight her for it. At 57, after 32 years behind the night desk, Nora Bellamy signed where the lawyer pointed and took the key ring because there was nothing else left on the table. Ray kept the motel license. Ray kept the business account. Ray kept the good rooms facing the highway, where truckers still pulled in under the humming vacancy sign. Nora got the part with rain in the walls. She meant to strip out the copper, sell the old air conditioners, and leave Missouri before the first hard frost. Then she found the yellow plastic tag marked 6B. There was no room 6B on the map. There had never been a room 6B at the Blue Heron. So why did Ray's hand shake when he saw she still had the key? Stay with Nora a little longer. Some doors only open once. If a room like 6B has ever waited behind your own life, hit subscribe before we go in, and tell us in the comments which door you'd open first. The lawyer's conference room smelled of cold coffee and copier heat. Mrs. Bellamy, the rear structures are being transferred to you by quitclaim, subject to existing utility dependencies and recorded access conditions. Nora looked at the typed line. Nora Jean Bellamy, grantee. Ray sat across from her in a pressed shirt. No wedding ring, the pale groove on his finger too clean. The business entity remains with Mr. Bellamy, the attorney said. The active rooms, signage, office equipment, reservation system, and financial accounts are not in dispute. Nora almost laughed. Not in dispute. She had worked the night desk since 1991, back when the Blue Heron still had orange bedspreads and ashtrays shaped like shells. She had checked in linemen after ice storms, mothers with children asleep against their shoulders, and learned which guests needed talk and which needed a key placed quietly on the counter. Ray owned the license. Ray signed the tax returns. Ray stood under the sign for photographs when the Blue Heron got repainted in 2008, though Nora had picked the blue. The photo still hung in the front office. Ray smiling, Nora cropped out by the brochure rack. You will assume responsibility, the attorney said, for maintenance, remediation, removal, or code compliance associated with the rear wing. Code compliance, Nora said. Ray looked at the table. They're dead rooms, Nora, dead rooms. He said it gently, almost kindly, which made it worse. Outside, someone at the bank laughed. Nora folded her hands so no one could see the cleaner burn on her thumb. She had gotten it scrubbing room 18 because Ray said a buyer might send someone through. A travel center chain wanted the frontage. Diesel pumps, fast food, showers. Ray said sentiment was not a retirement plan. There's no income attached. Ray said, you understand that? I understand. You can sell the scrap. You always liked projects, Ray said. The attorney pushed the key ring across the table. It was heavier than it looked. Brass keys, steel keys, cloudy plastic tags. Nora knew the sound of that ring. She had carried it from hook to hook behind the front desk for more nights than she could count. Room 1, 2, room 3, room 4, room 5, room 6. Then the yellow tag, 6B, she stopped. Ray reached for his water and missed the glass by half an inch. His fingers brushed the rim and made it click. Something wrong? The attorney asked. No, Nora said. She closed her hand around the keys. She signed at 11:46. The pen skipped on the B in Bellamy. Ray stood first, as he always did when he wanted a room to follow him. At the door, he turned back. You'll be all right. Nora waited. He added nothing. That was one of Ray's gifts. He could leave a sentence in the middle of the floor and make you step around it. She drove to the Blue Heron in her 2009 Buick, one hubcap missing, and a church rummage sale cassette stuck in the deck. The Blue Heron sat just off the old highway, 31 rooms in a shallow U around a cracked parking lot. The front had been painted too recently. The sign hummed with the electric buzz Nora could pick out in her sleep. Vacancy flickered, though it was only 4 in the afternoon. Ray's truck was not there. For the first time in 32 years, Nora parked behind the office instead of beside it. The rear wing stood beyond the laundry shed, behind gravel where weeds came through the cracks. After 1999, Ray called it storage, then liability, then an eyesore. The county had put orange stickers on the doors that summer. Nora had scraped most of them off because the place looked accused. Now the doors sagged. A stiff motel towel hung over the rail outside room 4, like somebody had meant to come back for it. The air smelled of wet gravel, stale fryer grease, and the faint metallic heat of the sign transformer. She walked past the laundry shed, where the dryer vent rattled, though no load was running. She touched the flap, opened hard. Inside, the smell came at her whole: mildew, old smoke, carpet pad gone sour. A swollen Bible sat on the windowsill. Nora opened it and found a grocery list. Milk, Band-Aids, peaches, no name, no date. She closed it and put it back. Room 2 had dead flies. Room 3 held rusted paint cans. Room 4 had ceiling tiles in the tub. Room 5 smelled sharp and animal, so Nora marked it with blue painter's tape. Room 6 waited at the end. The key went in smooth. She opened the door and heard something shift inside the wall. Not loud, not alive, just settling. Old wood, a pipe, a raccoon under the floor. The room was narrower than she remembered. A stripped mattress leaned against the far wall. The carpet held dark circles where the beds had been. On the right, built-in linen shelves covered most of the wall near the bathroom door, painted the same tired cream as everything else. The yellow tag touched her wrist. There was no second door, no adjoining room. The floor plan Ray kept in the office file cabinet showed 6 rectangles in a row and nothing more. She stepped inside. The ceiling light did not work. Damp afternoon light came through dirty glass, thin and green. Above the shelves, somebody had painted over a patch badly. She tried the 6B key in the bathroom door. It did not fit. She tried the old metal safe Ray had used for paint money. It did not fit. She tried the padlock behind the laundry shed. It did not fit. By 5:30, the motel sign out front had brightened against the weather. Nora walked back through the rear wing with her coat zipped to her throat. Above room 6, the exterior bulb flickered once and came on. She stopped. The breaker for the rear wing was supposed to be off. Ray had said so for years. Too much risk. No point feeding power to dead space. But there it was. A yellow bulb in a rusted cage, humming faintly, throwing a weak circle on the concrete walk. Nora touched the cage, warm. The sound from inside the wall came again. Soft settling, like a room behind the room had shifted its weight. Room 6 was where the first thing gave way. Not the wall, not the floor, Nora. She returned the next morning with rubber gloves, 2 trash bags, a flathead screwdriver, and paper towels from under the motel office sink that still had her handwriting on the cardboard core. Buy more. And Ray had never noticed handwriting unless it was on a check. The morning was 41 degrees, damp, with fog low over the drainage ditch. At 3:12 a.m., Nora had woken sure she heard the old Blue Heron doorbell, the brass one Ray removed in 2017. There had been no bell in her duplex. Daylight made room 6 look less mysterious and more ashamed. Dust showed itself, mouse droppings, a water stain shaped like Ohio, a pink plastic barrette with a cracked glitter heart. Nora set it on the windowsill, then she began. She stripped the curtains first. The fabric released stale smoke and something floral that had died years ago. She dragged the mattress out, swept cigarette butts, drywall chips, a green army man missing one leg, and 3 pennies into a dustpan. 1 penny was Canadian. The wrongness of it made her pause. By noon, the room had begun to give up its surface dirt. The linen shelves still bothered her. They were not built like the others. The motel was full of cheap fixtures, but these shelves had been reinforced. 4 long screws at the corners, 2 more halfway down. The paint over the screw heads was newer than the wall. Nora remembered folding towels there. No, she remembered folding towels somewhere there. Memory moved when she reached for it. She wedged the screwdriver under the first screw head. It resisted, then jumped loose with a squeal. By the 4th, her wrist ached. She sat back on her heels, wiped sweat from her upper lip with the back of her glove, and listened to a truck downshift on the highway. When the last screw came free, the shelf unit leaned toward her. Not far, just enough to show a dark vertical line. Nora braced her shoulder against the side and pulled. The shelves scraped the floor with a hard wooden complaint. Behind them was a narrow door, painted the wrong cream, its knob dull from use. Not dust, use. The metal around it had been rubbed clean in the shape of fingers. The room smelled suddenly different, still mildew, still smoke, but under it dry paper, soap. A trace of baby powder that could not possibly have lasted 25 years and somehow did. She went to the sink. Room 1 did not fit. Room 2, room 3. Room 4, room 5, room 6, then 6B. The key slid in without catching. The lock opened with a small private click. Behind the door was not another motel room. It was half of one, maybe 8 feet by 10, with no exterior entrance and no number on any plan Nora had ever seen. A cot folded against the wall. A small sink with a brown rust bloom, a high shelf, a dead phone jack. A square window near the ceiling clouded from inside. The air had been still a long time. On the wall beside the cot, pale rectangles showed where something had once been taped up. Near the floor, 2 scuff marks showed where the cot legs had been opened and closed. Nora stepped in. The floor gave a soft hollow sound under her shoe. Under the sink, behind yellowed paper cups, she found a metal recipe box, blue once, worn silver at the edges. The rubber band around it snapped when she touched it. Inside were index cards, not motel cards, not guest registration. Plain white cards, lined, some stained at the corners, initials. Dates, times, ages sometimes, not always. ML 2:35 a.m. Do not call husband. 4 bus station. Joplin S. No last names. Left coat behind. KD said police already came once. Some cards were in Nora's handwriting, some were not. She sat on the cot because her legs had forgotten their work. The canvas dipped and released a dry smell, dust, and old laundry soap. She read 6 cards, then 12, dates from 1994, 1996, 1998. One from March 2001, 2 years after Ray said the rear wing had become storage. On the back of one card in pencil, somebody had written one sentence. She didn't make me explain. Nora turned the card over twice. She heard Ray in the conference room. Dead rooms. She heard her own voice from years ago, or someone like her. Sit down first. We can talk later. The room behind room 6 had kept the sound of that sentence longer than she had. If you're still here, subscribe and stay close. Nora has only found the door, not what it protected. By the 3rd day, the rear wing had begun to change because Nora had touched it. Not beautifully. Change at first was uglier. Black trash bags lined the concrete walk. The carpet in room 6 came up in damp strips that made her knees ache. Ray's old knee pads kept sliding sideways like they wanted no part of her. The motel smelled different each hour. Bleach in the morning. Wet wood by noon. Lemon cleaner after lunch, not enough to cover the smoke, only enough to argue with it. She worked because work was easier than deciding what the cards meant. Room 3 gave her a receipt from Price Cutter dated April 17, 1997. Diapers, aspirin, instant coffee, 2 cans of peaches, total $18.63. Her initials were written at the top. NB. She knew the tilt of the end. She put it in a shoebox. The shoebox became 2. She did not call anyone, not yet. June Keller came by on Thursday. Nora heard the old sedan before she saw it, a belt squeal that had not improved in 10 years. June had cleaned rooms at the Blue Heron from 1995 to 2002 and quit after Ray cut her hours but kept calling on Saturdays. She stood at the edge of the rear hall, red windbreaker bright against the wet concrete. "You doing this yourself?" "Mostly." "Ray, no. He gave them to me." June made a sound through her nose, not a laugh. Inside room 6, she stopped before the narrow door. She put 2 fingers to the frame where the paint was rubbed smooth. "I thought he sealed that up." "Who?" "Ray." The name sat between them. Traffic hissed by on the wet highway. June looked into the little room. "I only cleaned in there twice. You didn't like anybody else going in." "I don't remember that. You wouldn't." June said it without cruelty. Then she asked if Nora had eaten, which was how women their age handled rooms too full of memory. She brought a foil pan from her car. Chicken and rice, probably. The top had shifted and stuck to the foil, leaving a bare patch nobody mentioned. They ate on the open tailgate of Nora's Buick. The food was cold in the center. Nora ate it. June said Trooper Merritt would remember. "Cal?" June nodded. "He came slow." Then June told her about nights when a patrol car rolled into the back lot with no lights on. About a woman sitting in the passenger seat, face turned to the window. About Nora opening room 6 and Ray turning the office television louder so he would not have to hear anything that might become his responsibility. "You always put coffee on," June said. "I put coffee on for everybody." "Not like that." A plastic bag caught against the fence, snapping in the wind. June got up to pull it loose. She did not sit down again. "You should talk to Cal," she said, "before Ray does." Nora found Cal Merritt at the White Pine Diner 2 mornings later, under a framed photograph of a trout nobody believed was local. The place smelled of bacon grease and burned toast. Cal had been tall once. Age had settled him into his bones. His trooper's hat was not with him. That was the wrong detail. Nora had remembered the hat first and the man second. "Nora Bellamy," he said. "You remember me, night desk woman." The waitress set coffee between them. Nora had not ordered. Neither had Cal. "Some places remembered for you. I found a room," Nora said. Cal put both hands around his cup. He did not drink. "Behind 6? She nodded. He looked toward the window where a delivery truck idled in the handicapped space with no driver inside. "I wondered when that would happen." He told her there had never been an official program. No shelter agreement, no grant, no sign. Just county deputies, a hospital social worker, 2 church secretaries, sometimes Cal himself, all knowing that if someone needed a room after midnight and could not have their name on a front desk card, Nora would answer the bell. "Ray knew enough," Cal said. "Not all." That sounds like Ray. He liked not knowing things that cost money. The line did not land like a joke. It landed like a receipt. Cal told her about a woman from Ava who arrived with 1 shoe and a swollen mouth, a 19-year-old boy who slept 14 hours, a mother and daughter who left before dawn because the husband had a cousin in the sheriff's office. He gave dates when he had them, weather, which door, which direction they drove. "I don't remember all of them," Nora said. "You weren't supposed to keep them all in your head." Cal reached inside his jacket and took out an envelope, creased and soft from years in a drawer. "These aren't official reports," he said. "Field notes. Copies. I kept some." "Why?" He looked at her then, because Ray owned the sign. Inside were 3 photocopied pages. Trooper shorthand, dates, partial plate numbers, 1 line circled in blue. Blue Heron rear room, night clerk present. Nora read it until the words blurred, then closed the envelope and placed her hand flat on top. "He's selling?" Cal asked. "Trying. You'll need Mavis Trent. I need a lawyer. You need someone Ray dislikes." That was the end of it. Cal stood to pay. Nora reached for her purse, but he put one hand near hers, not touching. "You gave people time," he said. Then he left before she could answer. Ray came to the rear wing the following Tuesday in a white polo shirt Nora had never seen before. He parked across two faded lines, his truck clean enough to reflect the motel sign. It had rained that morning. His shoes were tan suede. No man came to the back of the Blue Heron in tan suede unless he thought he would not have to stay long. Nora was in room 2, sorting old guest cards by year. Her hands were gray at the fingertips. Nora, not loud. Ray almost never raised his voice. He had learned early that a calm voice made other people sound unreasonable. She came out with cards in one hand. "What are you doing? Cleaning. This isn't safe." "It wasn't safe when you gave it to me." His mouth moved slightly. "Don't be difficult," the old phrase. Worn smooth from use. "The buyer's due diligence period is open," he said. "They'll be walking the front parcel next week." "Front parcel? You know what I mean. I'm learning what you mean." He looked at the cards. "Where did those come from?" "Storage." "Those are business records. You left them in my dead rooms. They're not yours to remove." On top was a card from August 1998 with no name, only cash and a license plate ending in 7K2, her handwriting again. Ray saw the open door behind room 6. For the first time since the settlement, something moved plainly across his face. Not guilt. Calculation. You opened that. The key did. It was sealed. Not very well. He stepped closer, then stopped. Maybe because the concrete was wet. Maybe because Nora did not move back. That space was never permitted, he said. "If the county sees it, they'll condemn the whole wing. They already condemned it. They'll order demolition. Then they can send me a letter. You can't afford letters." He said it softly. There it was. The arithmetic Ray trusted. The house sold, the business account out of reach, her savings reduced to a number that made any envelope from an attorney feel like weather coming in. "I'm trying to help you," he said. Nora looked at his shoes. A bead of muddy water had touched the left toe. He had not noticed. "You always made strays feel important," he said. "That doesn't make it a business. No, it makes it a problem." The words went into the hall and stayed there. Ray placed a folded letter on the metal rail, careful not to touch the rust. 2 weeks, he said. "Sign the release for removal access, and this stays simple." "And if I don't?" "We'll let the county do what it does." He walked away before she could give him an answer he would not accept. Nora watched his truck pull out. She did not open the letter until the taillights were gone. The paper smelled faintly of toner. Access interference, potential nuisance, non-conforming structure, reservation of rights. At the bottom, Ray had signed in blue ink, large and smooth. Nora folded the letter along its creases. Then she went back into room 6, took the yellow key from the ring and put it in her cardigan pocket. If Ray's threat feels too neat, listen closely now. The paper trail is where neat things start coming apart. That night, Nora sat in her duplex with the folded letter on the kitchen table and the shoebox of cards beside it. And for almost an hour, she did the math Ray wanted her to do. Scrapyard buyer, a clean break, Missouri behind her by Thanksgiving. She got as far as writing it down. Sell, leave, done. On the back of a price cutter receipt before she crossed it out, hard enough to tear the paper. Then she called Cal Merritt back and asked for Mavis Trent's number a second time. Because she'd lost the first piece of paper he'd written it on, or maybe she hadn't lost it at all. Mavis Trent lived in a brick ranch house behind a closed pharmacy in Forsyth. She had practiced law for 38 years, retired twice, and still kept an office in her den because people kept making trouble after she told them not to. Cal sent Nora there with the envelope. Mavis opened the door in house slippers and a gray sweater, holding a mug that said World's Okie Stant. "You Ray Bellamy's wife?" No, Mavis smiled without warmth. Good start. The den smelled of paper, black tea, and old dog, though no dog appeared. Under a brass lamp, Mavis spread the quitclaim deed, settlement pages, Ray's letter, Cal's notes, photos, the 6B door, and 12 index cards. Mavis read without speaking. That was a mercy. At last, she put on her glasses. You own the structures? That's what the settlement says. Subject to access conditions? Yes. Utilities tied to the front? I think so. You think so is expensive. Nora nodded. Mavis tapped Ray's letter. He's trying to scare you with pieces of truth. That works better than lying. He can get it demolished, maybe. Not by wishing, not by sending this. County would need inspection, findings, notice. Time to cure. And if there's a property dispute, they may move slower than he wants. The buyer? That's where he's softer. Mavis leaned back. Her chair creaked. If Ray is selling the motel frontage and representing the rear as clear for removal, but you own the rear structures and there's unresolved access or utility dependency, the buyer has a problem. If that hidden room shows a long pattern of use Ray knew about and failed to disclose, that's another problem. Not because kindness is a zoning category, because undisclosed use, code history, and disputed rights make buyers nervous. Nora looked at the index package. These people don't need exposure. No, Mavis said. They need proof without spectacle. She pulled a yellow legal pad toward her and wrote 3 headings: ownership, use, witnesses. Bring me everything, she said. Guest cards, receipts, utility bills, photos, anything with dates. Anything with his initials. Anything showing that room existed and Ray knew. Do not call the newspaper. Do not threaten him. Do not get poetic in writing. I'm not poetic. Everybody gets poetic when they're angry. Nora almost said she was not angry. Instead, she picked up the papers and squared the edges against the desk. Mavis noticed. You worked that motel how long? 32 years. And he called you what? Nora did not answer. Mavis capped her pen. Bring me the boxes. The boxes were in the basement office under the front building because Ray had never cleaned lower than eye level. Nora went the next morning at 7:15, when Ray was usually at the diner and Alicia, the day clerk, smoked by the dumpster pretending not to. Alicia still called Nora Miss Nora after Ray told the staff things were changing. The basement smelled of damp concrete, mouse poison, and copier toner. One fluorescent tube flickered at the far end. Shelves held old tax files, reservation books, broken lamps, Christmas garland, and a plastic skeleton in a blue heron cap. Nora turned it to face the wall. She found Night Audit, 1994-2001, behind a case of Motel soap shaped like seashells. The box was heavier than it should have been. Inside were folios, cash envelopes, handwritten occupancy sheets, and maintenance logs. Ray had kept more than she thought, not because he valued history, because he did not throw away anything that might someday prove him right. Nora sorted by year: 1994, 1995, 1996. Normal business first, room 10 cash. Room 22, late checkout. Room 7, complaint about ants. Then the pattern began. Rear wing rooms marked MV for maintenance vacancy. On nights, Nora remembered no maintenance. Supply receipts attached with staples. From formula, socks, bus tickets. A cab receipt from September 1998. On 6 folios, beside rear hold, Ray had initialed approval. RB not large, not smooth, just 2 letters written because numbers had to balance. Nora sat very still. Then she picked a dead beetle from the edge of the box and put it beside her shoe. Only after that did she press one hand over her mouth. Alicia came down with a mop bucket. "Oh," she said, "I didn't know you were here. Neither did Ray." Alicia looked toward the ceiling. Then she set the bucket down and pulled a small envelope from her apron pocket. "This came last week," she said. "He threw it in the trash. I took it out." The envelope was addressed to the woman at night desk, Blue Heron Motor Court. Inside was a postcard of Omaha. "My son graduated last May. You let us sleep behind room 6 in 1997. I still look for hallway lights. Thank you for not writing my name where he could find it." Nora read it twice. Ray said it was crazy mail. Alicia said. Nora put the postcard in the shoebox. It isn't, no. Militia lifted the mop bucket again, then stopped. He told us you were confused. Nora looked at the night audit box. He'll say it again. For 12 days, Nora built the record, not a case, not yet. A record. Mavis called it that because a record did not have to be pretty, only accurate. Nora photographed the half room, rubbed doorknob, shelf screw marks, cot legs, phone jack, hidden door. She measured it and wrote 8 feet 4 in eyes 9 feet 11 in because exact measurements made men like Ray's attorney less comfortable. Cal signed an affidavit. Mavis removed 3 sentences that sounded noble and replaced them with dates. June signed one too. She brought lemon bars nobody asked for, left them on the porch rail, and forgot them when she drove off. Ants found them before noon. Mavis asked former guest for narrow truths. Did you stay in or near the rear wing? Was Nora Bellamy the person who let you in? Did anyone require more information than you wished to give? Did Ray Bellamy know or appear aware? Some people did not answer. Some numbers were dead. One woman hung up after hearing Blue Heron and called back 3 hours later from a different phone. Another mailed a statement typed in all capital letters with no signature, which Mavis called emotionally useful and legally useless. Nora kept it anyway. One call came on a Sunday afternoon while rain tapped at the motel office window. I don't want my name in anything. You don't have to. You still there? Yes. A pause. A dog barked somewhere on the line. You left the hall light on, the woman said. Nora closed her eyes, but only for a second. The office smelled of toner and burned coffee. Outside, the vacancy sign buzzed over wet pavement. I did that for everybody. No, the woman said. You did it for me. The line clicked dead. 3 days later, a notarized statement arrived from Nebraska. No full name. Initials only. Mavis said it might help. Nora put it with the others. Ray's attorney sent a second letter. This one was longer. Mavis read it, snorted once, and wrote back in 6 sentences. Then she prepared the packet. No ribbon, no speech. Just certified mail to Ray's attorney and a second packet to the buyer's due diligence contact, Marianne Cho at the Travel Center chain's Kansas City office. The packet included the settlement, quitclaim deed, photographs, affidavits, folios with Ray's initials, anonymized witness statements, and notice that any sale representing the rear wing as clear, unused, or under Ray's control would be disputed. Mavis let Nora watch her seal the envelopes. There, she said, now we let paper do what shouting can't. Nora drove back to the Blue Heron in silence. At the rear wing, the hallway bulb had burned out. She stood beneath it, looking up at the rusted cage. Then she found a ladder in the laundry shed and replaced the bulb herself. The new one came on warm and steady. Ray came 2 mornings later, but Nora did not see him. That mattered later. She was at Mavis Trent's kitchen table, signing a limited representation agreement and eating toast Mavis had burned on one side. The reaction happened without her, the way a door closes in another room. Marianne Cho had requested a site walk. Ray arrived first, according to Alicia, in the white polo again, and a jacket he wore only when money was close. His attorney came with a leather folder. Marianne arrived at 9:05 with low black shoes, no expression, and a man with a tablet to photograph roof lines, utility boxes, drainage, and the rear lane Ray had called inactive service area. Mavis sent Cal to open the rear wing. Cal said later he did not enjoy it. Mavis said enjoyment was not the standard. They walked the hall. Room 1, Room 2. Room 3, Room 4, Room 5, Room 6. Behind the pulled-out linen shelves, the narrow door stood open. The yellow 6B key was in Cal's hand. Marianne asked why the room was not on the floor plan. Ray said it was an old storage alcove. His attorney said non-rentable utility space. Cal said nothing. Marianne stepped inside, looked at the cot marks, the sink, the phone jack, the shelf, the rubbed doorknob. Then she looked at the copied folios Mavis had placed in the packet. 6 pages, 6 sets of initials, RB. She asked if Ray had disclosed prior non-conforming lodging use after the 1999 closure. His attorney answered first. Ray interrupted him. Alicia was at the laundry shed folding towels that did not need folding and heard only pieces. Mischaracterized. Estranged spouse. Charitable misunderstanding. Then Marianne said something clearly. We're pausing the transaction. No one raised a voice. No one confessed. By late afternoon, Ray's attorney received written notice from the buyer. Within 48 hours, the purchase agreement was terminated under due diligence provisions, unresolved ownership interest, undisclosed rear structure use, access ambiguity, and potential liability surrounding unpermitted occupancy history. Nora learned this from Mavis, not Ray. She was in room 6B when the call came, wiping the little sink with a rag wrapped around 2 fingers. The faucet still did not run. The room smelled of vinegar and old dust. A square of winter light lay high on the wall. Buyer walked, Mavis said. Nora sat on the cot. Oh, that's all you've got? What should I have? A parade, maybe. No good. Parades are expensive. Nora looked at the yellow key on the shelf. What happens now? Now he has a problem he can't sell. Ray's final letter came 2 weeks later through attorneys, not directly. No apologies, no admissions, only terms. Ray would execute an amended access agreement granting Nora independent rear lane access to the 6-room wing. He would allow separation of electric service at the existing junction. He would waive claims of interference related to the failed sale. Nora, in return, would not pursue misrepresentation claims tied to the due diligence packet unless he attempted another sale that included her structures without written consent. Mavis called it clean enough. Clean is not perfect, she said. Clean is enforceable. They signed at the county recorder's office on a Friday morning in April. Nora wore the same cranberry cardigan from the divorce meeting. The clerk, a young man with a silver nose ring and a tie covered in tiny ducks, stamped the agreement and slid the recorded copy back. Nora looked at the document. Her name was on it. Not as wife, not as help. Owner of rear structures, holder of access rights, responsible party for utilities, ordinary words. Hard little words. That afternoon, she parked behind the laundry shed as she had been doing, but it was different now. The space did not belong to Ray's tolerance. The rear lane was written down. Alicia came out with a box of things left in the office. Inside were 2 mugs, a roll of quarters, the old brass desk bell Ray had removed, and a Polaroid Nora had never seen. The photo was from 1996. Nora behind the night desk, hair shorter, sweater too big, pouring coffee into a paper cup. In the corner, half visible, a woman sat with a child asleep against her side. The hallway light behind them was on. No one had centered Nora in the picture. That made it more true. He told me to toss it, Alicia said. Nora put the Polaroid back in the box. Thank you. Alicia nodded. You need help painting? Nora almost said no. Then she heard herself say, room 3 first. They painted room 3 a color called warm oat, though in the can it looked like pancake batter. June criticized the rollers. Cal fixed the exterior light cages. Mavis helped Nora file nonprofit paperwork and told her 3 times that good intentions did not replace liability insurance. The rear wing did not become what it had been. It could not. The world had changed. Nora could not simply open a hidden room and trust silence to cover the rest. Mavis made that clear. Referral only, short stays, smoke detectors, a careful log, legal aid, a church pantry, and a clinic in Springfield, separate meter, working locks. The first extinguisher tag was dated May 6. Nora kept the receipt. She worked part-time at another motel 3 exits down. 4 nights a week, she came back and worked until her hands cramped. She sanded doors, washed windows, replaced toilet seats, and paid a retired electrician $612. 40 to sanctions a circuit Ray had sworn was impossible. Room 1 became clean. Room 2 became dry. Room 3 stopped smelling like smoke. Room 4 took longer because the ceiling had to be opened. Room 5 became storage for donated coats, diapers, bus cards, and soup. Room 6 stayed plain. Room 6B stayed unlisted. She did not hang a sign. The front blue heron sign still hummed under Ray's ownership, though he had fewer cars in the lot now and a for sale by owner notice taped inside the office window. Nora did not ask about it. His trouble had moved away from her door. That was enough. Duai de la duant kit vitlite de taitu. In October, the first cold rain came sideways. Jane hit script.